So manipulation can be seen as a storytelling tool, and it's one of the most fascinating in my opinion. Of course, when I say manipulation, I'm talking about when a character influences an inferior or political character for his own gain. Deception is a common political device, kinda like Rasputin and the influence he had over the Russian Tsarina that undermined public opinion of the monarchy and eventually led to the communist revolution. Manipulation in a political context has grave consequences, just like how Obito gave the mist one of its bloodiest eras yet when he took control over the 4th Mizukage, and it's believed that he manipulated him for years on end. However, this isn't the only instance of manipulation in Naruto. So today, we're gonna look at the biggest scandals or the biggest manipulators of the shinobi world. Be sure to like and share the video to show appreciation for the work we do here, and let's get to it. Manipulation and deception are skills that are pivotal for a shinobi, considering that ninja work from the shadows to achieve their goals. Being able to manipulate those around you to do your bidding would be a very useful skill. Manipulation can occur by either deceiving someone emotionally or even through brainwashing techniques sometimes, where you can freely reprogram someone's thinking. The most popular ability that comes to mind is the visual Genjutsu of the Sharingan. Even in its base form, if a user is skilled enough, they can cast illusions onto the person they lock eyes with, through which they can read the person's mind and implant commands into their brain. Like when Itachi used his Genjutsu to get a call girl to distract Jiraiya so that the duo could catch Naruto alone in his hotel room. Or when Sasuke got the Cloud Shinobi to give up B's location. The Mangekyo Sharingan amps the visual Genjutsu quite a bit, so I'd say that anyone with the Mangekyo Sharingan can likely mind control or at least greatly influence someone's thinking with overwhelming illusions. Shisui, however, had the direct ability to brainwash his opponents through his Mangekyo's Koro Amatsukami. The jutsu had 2 variants in each eye, where one didn't require eye contact and the other doesn't, and the right eye is way more powerful, that it overrode Kabuto's Edo Tensei control. The Mangekyo Sharingan also had its special perks in that it was very effective against tailed beasts, even the Ninetales. Both Obito and Madara controlled it in the past, and you could say those two are exceptional shinobi, but even Fugaku Uchiha believed that he could control the Ninetales. This is easily one of the most fearsome abilities of the Uchiha clan, and it's part of why they've been demonized by the villagers and the elders throughout the years. The Sharingan's Genjutsu was no joke, and Obito took it a step further, when he controlled the 4th Mizukage Yagura Karatachi and rained hell over the mist. The one touted as the perfect Jinchuriki of the Three Tails, who was gonna take the Mist Village out of the Dark Ages, was cursed and ended up pushing it deeper down the darkness. Now, I'm not gonna dive into whether Yagura is a perfect Jinchuriki or not. I already got a whole video dedicated to that. All I'm gonna say is that Yagura could control the powers of his tailed beast, but Obito was able to control him for what seemed to be like a couple of years. If we take the anime interpretation, when he approached Yagura first, he seemed to be rather young. Same fit as when he attacked the village. And then the next time we see him reveal his control over the Mizukage to Kisame, he has long flowing hair, kinda like he did when he helped Itachi out with the massacre. Considering that Itachi was 4 when the Ninetales attacked and like 13 when he committed the massacre, that would mean that Obito had the Mizukage in his grip for at least 9 years, and he likely kept him under his control for more years to go. During that time, the Mizukage was known as violent and corrupt, known for exploiting money from the weak and a zero-tolerance policy on any dissent. His tyrannical rule would inspire many within the mist to rebel, like Zabuza, who attempted to stage a coup d'etat. Yagura remained under Tobi's control until Ao snapped him out of it, which would indirectly result in his death. This is one case of brainwashing that had detrimental results. Another is a jutsu mastered by Sasori called the Sand Brainwash Jutsu. With this technique, Sasori can seal away a person's memories by storing them into tiny needles within the brain. This was done so that the person forgets that they're working for Sasori, making them the perfect sleeper agents. Once Sasori undoes the jutsu, the needles vanish, and the spy's memory is restored, making them capable of performing their mission after they've effectively infiltrated the enemy's ranks and gained their trust. No one expected Yura to be a double agent, given his years of servitude to the Sand. Sasori also had another Sand Jonin named Mukade under his jutsu, as well as Kabuto, who was meant to be Sasori's spy on Orochimaru until the latter found out and broke his control. Now, while there may not be that many more brainwashing jutsu in the series, there's other forms of manipulation that shinobi engage in. And looking at the title of the video, who the biggest manipulators of the show were, and most of them used their words and emotional deception to further their goals. We already spoke about how good of a manipulator Obito was. He ruled the mist for like 10 plus years without anyone finding out about it, possibly responsible for the biggest scandal in shinobi history. However, Obito's deception wasn't limited to this one incident. Once he assumed Madara's identity and walked the path of darkness, he also learned how to exploit people's emotions to further his own goals. Like when he went up to the Rain Orphan trio and tried to convince Nagato to come to his side. In the anime, it was revealed that Obito was aware of the ambush that Hanzo set up, and he decided to let it play out so that Nagato could experience pain and give up on naive idealism, going as far as preventing the other Akatsuki from intervening by massacring them all with the help of Zetsu. He also got Sasuke to briefly team up with the Akatsuki by leveraging the knowledge about Itachi and the Uchiha massacre, and he sent him after the Eight Tails to cause a ruckus with the Cloud so that they'd convene the 5 Kage summit. And even then, he pulled up to the summit and deceived them all into thinking that he's Madara. It was also stated in the Itachi novel that the masked man had fed some of the Uchiha conspirators information that had pushed them more towards the coup so that he could destroy Konoha from within. All of these feats make him one of the most manipulative characters in the series. A lot of people would bring up Madara, considering that he was the one that manipulated Obito and turned him into that in the first place. Madara knew that if Obito was subjected to an emotionally traumatic event and had his bond with reality severed, he would jump onto his side for the Eye of the Moon plan. So Madara orchestrated the ultimate ploy. He somehow managed to get the Mist to enact his plans, turn Rin into a Jinchuriki, and then he told the White Zetsu to rile up Obito and lead him to the scene to which he could unlock the Mangekyo Sharingan, and Kakashi stabbing Rin with his Chidori was better than anything Madara could ask for. Obito was just a tool for Madara, someone he could use to do his dirty work, and that's why Obito said that he never trusted Madara. But he may have underestimated Madara and his schemes, like how Madara implanted Black Zetsu on Obito so that he could revive himself when he gets the chance. Madara also deceived Hashirama and the rest of the shinobi world by faking his death and hiding underground to awaken the sage's powers, the Rinnegan, all in the hopes of achieving the world of dreams in the far future. After that, it really did seem like Madara was the mastermind behind everything. I mean, this was a man that planned so far ahead that he somehow managed to revive himself. He was on top of the world in terms of both his powers and his plans that went into fruition. But then of course we get the big reveal and the title of the best manipulator is given to the next player in line. The Black Zetsu reveal is probably the most controversial plot twist in the manga. Probably because it undermined Madara's role as a villain and made him seem like he was just a pawn. But just like how Obito was used, so was Madara. Black Zetsu is considered to be canonically the ultimate manipulator in the series, and it's implied that he manipulated most of mankind itself by sparking the clash between Ashura and Indra. After being born out of Kaguya, Black Zetsu hid. Hagoromo didn't know about Zetsu, so it used that to its advantage. It lurked around till the sage had 2 sons and chose to approach the elder son and feed on his insecurity after his younger brother was chosen over him as the successor. Black Zetsu manipulated Indra, and that resulted in the decades-long conflict between shinobi. He subsequently chose to exploit the Uchiha, and Zetsu altered the content of the stone tablet left by the sage so that it could say that the infinite Tsukuyomi is the salvation of the Uchiha clan. He kept approaching the reincarnates until Hashirama and Madara were next in line, and then he followed Madara around until Madara awakened the Rinnegan and subsequently summoned the Gero Mazo. Black Zetsu extracted some of the previous victims of the infinite Tsukuyomi and fused them with the DNA of Hashirama that Madara cultivated in order to fool Madara into thinking that they were Hashirama clones he created. Also, Zetsu made Madara believe that he created him from the lights and shadow technique. And since Zetsu played the silent mastermind role, he even led Kabuto to Madara's corpse so that he could use it as a bargaining chip with Obito. So I guess in terms of lore and influence, then he could be seen as the best manipulator, but a lot of people in the community aren't fans of Black Zetsu's reveal. I mean, it wasn't explained in great detail how exactly he manipulated Madara, you know, besides altering the Uchiha stone tablet and appearing out of his body as his manifested will. Maybe Zetsu had a way to subtly control him, like when Madara was absorbing the God Tree, it's believed that this was a command relayed by Black Zetsu. Zetsu's manipulation was so impactful that it affected generations of shinobi. And now that we've moved up the hierarchy of manipulators of the Naruto villains, let's look at the other antagonists that engage in a lot of manipulation. One that comes to mind is Danzo Shimura, and the whole recruitment process of the Foundation could be seen as brainwashing really, or more like indoctrination. Danzo was one of the most conniving characters, working from behind the scenes and deceiving all those around him to get his way. All of this is evident in how he uses the two elders Koharu and Hamura as tools to pull off his schemes, like implanting a spy within Team Kakashi, for example. And Sai was instructed to deceive everyone from his true assignment, the elimination of Sasuke Uchiha. Danzo also manipulated Hiruzen by sending the root Anbu for missions that were not approved of by the third Hokage, and of course everyone that was a member of the Foundation was a servant of Danzo, completely under his control and would execute any of his commands. If we were to look at the anime, then we see even more instances of Danzo's manipulation, like when he turned Kakashi against the third Hokage by blaming him for the fourth's passing, or when he deceived Hanzo by passing some of his root Anbu off as ranged shinobi and claiming that the Akatsuki terrorized them, turning Hanzo against the group. Danzo worked from the shadows and manipulated events to his benefit. It even got to the point that he talked the feudal lord into making him the acting Hokage, and he had Shisui's eye with the intent of using it in the Kage Summit to become the commander of the Shinobi Alliance. But he got too close to the sun, he got caught on 4K thanks to Ao, and had to dip and run. So that was the extent of it for Danzo really. Another character considered to be a master manipulator is Orochimaru, and that's how he was able to build his empire of the Sound Village and gather many skilled shinobi to operate as his pawns. Orochimaru had the habit of recruiting individuals he perceived as talented to work under him, usually using tactics of emotional manipulation or temptation with offers of power. Orochimaru had two teams from the Sound deployed in the Chunin exams to do his bidding. The first was Team Dosu, who he used as pawns to test the powers of Sasuke Uchiha, after which they'd served their purpose, and Orochimaru would go on to use Kin and Zaku as human sacrifices for the reanimation of the first and second Hokage. The second team was Team Kabuto, which he used to further test Sasuke and gather intel on the village for the upcoming joint invasion of the Leaf. Orochimaru also persuaded the Sound Four to be his minions by offering them power in the form of the Curse Mark, and Orochimaru could subtly influence the thoughts of the recipients of the Curse Mark. He also used emotional manipulation to turn Kimimaru into his loyal minion by exploiting his loneliness and insecurity, and he exploited the state of disarray that Kabuto was left in by turning him into his apprentice. If we were to look at the additional Naruto materials and filler, then there's only more cases of manipulation by Orochimaru. Orochimaru manipulated Mizuki in the anime, giving him a specialized curse seal. Orochimaru also manipulated a shinobi named Kajika in the Naruto Crossroads OVA, which took place prior to him meeting Team 7, which implies that he'd been watching Sasuke for quite some time before he approached him. And then we got the boatload of filler in part 1, after the Valley of the End fight. Most of the filler villains we met were pawns of Orochimaru, manipulated to carry out his wishes at the cost of their well-being. Considering that he's literally a snake, Orochimaru has always been one of the most deceitful characters. And one other character that's quite manipulative is Itachi. I mean, his whole plan with Sasuke, convincing him that he was this egomaniac that killed his clan just to test the limits of his ability, using the Mangekyo Sharingan to traumatize Sasuke to despise him, just so that he could harbor all the pain and anger that Sasuke would have developed against the village had he found out the truth. Itachi's manipulation of his younger brother ran deep, but he did share the truth with Sasuke when he was a reanimated shinobi. Now going back to the title of the video, who were the biggest manipulators of Naruto? Well, that kind of depends on which type of manipulation you're talking about. If it's manipulation as in getting people to follow you or serve you through emotional manipulation, then that title might go to Orochimaru. He was able to amass a following through his manipulation alone. He didn't have a specialized operation assigned under him like Danzo and the Foundation. If it's political manipulation, then it might be Danzo. I mean, the amount of foreign meddling and political scandals this guy's responsible for is staggering. Though I suppose Obito still has the better feat of keeping the Mizukage under his control for 10 plus years without anyone finding out. Danzo's only use of the Mangeki Sharingan was embarrassing. If it's historic manipulation, then that title goes to Zetsu, and Black Zetsu is objectively the best manipulator since he was the true mastermind. I mean, it's not great, but it's 2025. We gotta accept what happened. Though I will say that the biggest manipulators in Naruto were Zetsu, Obito, and maybe Danzo to a lesser extent. Obito had that Mizukage feat, and when he was working as the masked man from behind the scenes, there was no one more manipulative or conniving than him, except for his silent partner, I guess. Anyways, these have been the biggest manipulators of Naruto. Make sure to subscribe if you guys haven't already, and I'll see you guys in the next video.